WrestleMania 39 Night 1, WrestleMania Saturday has ended, and I have a lot to say about this show because this was unquestionably one of the greatest pro wrestling shows of all time. And just this night alone, we still have night 2 coming up tomorrow, but night 1 was easily, I mean, last year's night 1 was phenomenal. I think this year was even better. What WWE has done, what Triple H and the entire crew there, all the wrestlers have done with this show is give you literally everything you could ever want as a wrestling fan. You saw lots of different styles. You saw a variety of different types of matches. You saw crazy entrances. You saw pyro. You saw stories. You saw emotion. This right here, WrestleMania 39 Saturday, was everything that I love about pro wrestling and the reason why I even got into this when I was a kid, all wrapped up into one show. And we still have another night left to go. I cannot tell you how incredible. I mean, I'm sure most of you saw the show. If you didn't, that's fine. We witnessed what many are calling the greatest women's match in the history of WWE, maybe the history of North America. We witnessed that. We witnessed celebrities actually doing shit that was kind of cool. We witnessed an emotional finale ending a very, very long 9-month or so story, which isn't really over. And we saw tears at the end of the night. I don't even know what to tell you. So first of all, I want to say that SoFi Stadium looked absolutely gorgeous. I know it's a new stadium for the Rams, but my God, that stadium was absolutely beautiful, and the way they set everything up with the movie posters and the set was just top notch. So the show opens up with America the Beautiful, and then we have the Kevin Hart intro, and then we have The Miz, who's the host of WrestleMania, with Snoop Dogg, who was all over the show. Snoop Dogg's obviously from LA, and it's not his first WrestleMania because he was there at WrestleMania 24, and I was at that show too. But Snoop Dogg and Miz are there co-hosting WrestleMania, and that goes right into the opening contest, which is John Cena returning to wrestle Austin Theory for the U.S. title. Now, before Cena came out, because Cena came out second, they showed a video package of the Make-A-Wish kids that Cena has done throughout the years. He has the most wishes granted of any celebrity ever, and because of that, it's very difficult to dislike that man. Very, very difficult to dislike John Cena for doing that for those kids. So they brought out these Make-A-Wish kids. Now, in my predictions video, I said that I thought Theory would win this, but I thought that if Cena won, he would drop the title. When I saw those kids with him, I thought he was going to win because I didn't think WWE would actually have him losing in front of those kids. But he did lose, but it was a pretty good little wrestling match. This match was basically what I would call back to basics wrestling. The thing about this show, if you compare it to Supercard of Honor, right, is the problem with Supercard of Honor last night is that the matches were all like, and Tony Khan has a problem booking matches in the right order. But on this show, I think Triple H showed how to do it because every match built upon the previous one, and every match kind of elevated the stakes a little bit, little by little, with the exception of one sort of intermission we'll get to later. But the opening match was a solid, simple pro wrestling match. Nothing crazy. Cena did his stunts. We saw, starting off with holds, then we started seeing spots. At one point, Cena does get the STF on Theory, but there's a ref bump and the ref is down. And that, of course, they did a visual pin or a visual submission to kind of make it so that Cena kind of got robbed because the ref was down. It was, ref bump finishes. Some think that they're kind of old. I understand why they did it. I get it. I was worried that we're going to do a bunch of these in this show, and thankfully they didn't. Thankfully they did not do it. So the match, I think, was fine for what it was. It was about 12 minutes, solid wrestling. I should mention the finish here. After the ref bump, Theory hit a low blow and then hit the A-Town down for the pin. Again, it was probably one of the weaker matches on the show, but by no means was it bad. It was a very simple and basic opener. to give the crowd a pop, and Cena, they gave him a huge pop. They started doing "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, like dueling chants, but they gave him a massive, massive reaction. Obviously, Cena losing to Theory makes sense considering that Theory is the up and coming guy in his 20s. Cena's the legend, but I do believe that Cena has completely gone into legendary status because I don't see him ever getting booed again. You understand? I think he's just a legend at this point to almost everyone. So then we had the Fatal 4-Way Tag match, which was the male one. Street Profits, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy and Viking Raiders. The Street Profits won the match, who also got a huge pop. This crowd tonight was on fire. Like, this crowd was just insane. They were on fire. I want to tell you that this 4-way match is one of the ones I was not really anticipating, and goodness gracious, they exceeded the expectations. You want to talk about hard work. These 8 guys went out there and did some of the most insane. I mean, this match was just, I don't even know where to start. It was just crazy spot after crazy spot. Strowman hit a top rope splash. We saw multiple reversals. We saw Angelo Dawkins knock over Strowman. That was kind of cool. There was an awesome spot where I think Chad Gable did the rolling Germans on Strowman, and that was crazy. Like, dude, Strowman was really moving. All these guys were jumping up and down like they did. And then Ricochet does like a springboard shooting star, but he does it Ricochet style where he jumps up into the heavens because that dude can defy the laws of gravity when he goes out there, right? Just an insane shooting star on Dawkins and Eric. So he goes for a shooting star press in the ring, but Dawkins gets his knees up. Then he holds Ricochet while Ford hit the frog splash from the top and sort of squished him into the knees. And that was the pinfall. I thought that was a phenomenal freaking finish. These dudes went out there and gave it their all, yo. And now we got us a show. Like, now we got us a WrestleMania show. And you could tell these people are elevating their game because it's the grandest stage of them all this year. Which, by the way, folks, according to what I've understood, they said on the show that it was a legitimate sellout. I don't have all the numbers here, but I did hear as of yesterday it was a near sellout. So either they did manage to sell the last tickets or they didn't, and they're just saying it's a sellout even though it wasn't. But even if it wasn't, this was as close to capacity as you can get, and it was certainly bigger than 38, 37, and definitely 36. That was, the empty arena mania. This felt like, it really felt like WrestleMania. It felt like this was the show that we tune into every year, and the energy in the building was even better than last year. So then we had Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. So this match started off with a tribute to Shawn Michaels. They had Paul do the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 12 entrance with like the zip line, except it was slow. That was a cool entrance. And then they had him come out with the Prime Energy drink. Now, when they showed the Prime Energy drink, at first, everybody at the house where I was watching this at thought that it was, we all thought that it was Seth under the suit, but it wasn't. Then when Seth came out with his entrance, which had this opera guy like doing the conducting, maybe not opera, but a conductor, which was a cool little thing, lots of fireworks and whatnot. Seth comes out with this big like red, I don't even know what you call it, almost like a cape, or something. I don't even know, like a I don't even know, something a wizard would wear. And then he's taking off his clothes and he's got like the Shawn Michaels like top from like the 90s Shawn Michaels. Then he's got like the chaps. Then he undid those. Like, my God, total Shawn Michaels. But when that happened, I thought the Prime Energy drink was going to end up being Jake Paul. Well, guess what? It was KSI. I cannot believe WWE got Logan Paul and KSI. And KSI was actually with Logan Paul here. I just can't believe they actually got KSI. YouTube has fully invaded WWE. And if you're wondering, will I ever have a match in WWE? Probably not. I'm not at that level, but I wonder, why don't they do Keemstar and H3H3? Have that at WrestleMania. No, you know what? It's a bad idea because neither guys don't want to lose. Those guys don't ever want to put somebody else over. So anyways, this match with Rollins and Logan Paul was just absolute insanity. I mean, again, you saw a mix of high flying. Look, like him or not, Logan Paul's done some fucked up shit, right? This guy was made for WWE. He was made for it. He was made for WWE. He has caught on to this sport so fast. I mean, so fast. So when he was about to lose, the prime mascot was revealed to be KSI. I mentioned that earlier. And then they did a spot where Logan Paul put Rollins on basically on the announce table, right? And then he was going to jump up and jump off the turnbuckles like the Shane McMahon spot. But Rollins got up and moved KSI on top of the table. And so Paul crashed through KSI through the table. That was insane. And it was very well done because Logan Paul was like, showboating and didn't even notice that Seth moved him. This was good stuff, yo. So Rollins then throws Paul in the ring, goes for a pedigree. Didn't get him. Then Logan Paul, they keep wrestling. Logan Paul had to go to sleep. A go-to sleep, yes. And then hit a huge frog splash. Only got 2. So then he tries to do the coast to coast, which is really called the Van Terminator, from one ring post to another. But he got super kicked on the way down, which is again was a tribute to Shawn and Shelton Benjamin. Lots of Shawn Michaels tributes here, folks. Lots of them. Because let's not forget, the jumping off the top through the announce table, Shawn's done that too. You know what I mean? So it's his thing, not just Shano. So what happens is, after he kicks him in midair, he hits the curb stomp and gets the 1, 2, 3. Phenomenal freaking match. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Logan Paul has it for wrestling. He's got it for wrestling. So then we had the 6-woman tag match. They had like a Sin City comic bookish type of introduction for the babyface team. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus, who are the tag team champions, defeated Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky of Damage Control. Now, I was thinking the heels were going to win. Now I'm starting to wonder if they're going to split up Damage Control soon, because it feels like Damage Control not getting this win was almost indicative that their run might be over. You know what I mean? Now, the match was fine for what it was. I will say this. I love Trish. There were a couple parts in this match where I thought she actually hurt herself, and there were a couple parts where she kind of went a little bit slow. They tried their best, and Lita did all the classic Lita stuff. Like, she took off her shirt and did the moonsault with her thong out, which she used to do back in the year 2000, the Attitude Era, and even after that. Trish hit the chick kick, Becky Lynch and Bayley. I mean, this could be the end of that feud. That feud's been going on since like September, right? Something like that. So, or maybe it was August. I think it was August, yeah. So what ends up happening is Bayley hits Trish with a belly to belly, or Bayley to belly, right? And then what happens is Io Sky does this big moonsault from the top to land on everybody, right? And then, they all go out, they all go back in, they're brawling, doing like the all 6 girls in the ring. We saw a twist of fate. Then Trish does the chick kick, and then Lita does the moonsault. I mentioned that. Then the finish happens when Bayley's about to hit like a top rope belly to belly on Becky. Becky reverses it with the manhandle slam and gets the 1, 2, 3. So I think that what they're going with here is, I think Shayna and Ronda are going to win tomorrow night, and they're going to be the next to challenge for the women's tag team titles. I think that makes the most sense, and I think if they're going to end the Damage Control run, they might as well begin the Ronda and Shayna top heel women run with that match. That's the way I see it going down. Then we had one of the most emotional matches of the night, father versus son, for the first time in WrestleMania history. Dominik Mysterio against Rey Mysterio, who is now a Hall of Famer. First of all, Bad Bunny was out there doing Spanish commentary. Huge pop. I mean, big star to them. The entrances here were absolutely insane in a good way. I love them. The Dominik entrance was probably the best one of the night. He came out. They brought out this like paddy wagon, like one of those like prison cop vans with a bunch of cops, and then he's shackled, right? Like he's Hannibal Lecter or something. They open up the back of the cop car of the truck, and he gets out, and he's got this angry look on his face, and oh my god, it was so good. What an awesome entrance for him. And he had a Rey Mysterio mask on too, and he went to the ring with the cops. I mean, it was just, God, it was so awesome. It was so awesome. So then, and it was funny because Michael Cole was like making fun of it, it was great. So then what happens is the Rey Mysterio entrance. So it's Rey with Snoop Dogg, and he's got like a Cadillac lowrider, and Rey and Snoop Dogg are coming out, and they're playing Nothing But a G Thing, which I loved that. Then they start playing Eddie Guerrero's Viva La Raza, and then Rey's theme starts kicking in, and then he gets to the ring. Again, tremendous storytelling here. This match was pure and utter storytelling. There were some great spots, there was some high flying, some technical stuff, some brawling, but no, this was all male soap opera stuff here. First of all, Rey's wife and daughter were at ringside, so you knew they were going to be involved. At one point in the match, Dominik throws a drink at like his sister, and that was a cool spot, by the way. And then Rey like attacks him, and she was about to attack Dominik, but Rey said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." So Dominik takes the advantage, right? And they're going back and forth. I mean, it's a pretty good match. I don't like, I have not liked Dominik until this role now, and he's absolutely improved. And Rey's going to do his best to carry his own son. I don't know if you guys know this, but Rey's been wanting to work a WrestleMania match with Dominik for years now. This was pitched like in 2020, right? Something like that. Rey's wanted to do it with him for a long time. So Dominik gets in Rey's wife's face, his mom, and she slapped him, right? Then they keep freaking, Rey kissed her. They keep brawling in the ring. Then we got one of the coolest spots. It's funny because we all made jokes about Rey hitting Dominik with a belt or with la cintura or with a chancleta, and he literally took off his belt and started whipping him. Like, I swear he was in the corner whipping him with the belt. My God, that was phenomenal. That was freaking phenomenal. So what happens is Judgment Day come out to try to screw over Rey, Finn Balor, and, Damian Priest, Punishment Martinez. What happens is Rey goes to the top rope. Well, first he's 619. Then he's about to do the splash. But then Priest knocks Rey off the top. Then the LWO come out. Legado del Fantasma. They all come out. Santos Escobar takes out Priest. Like, they all come out to save Rey, which was awesome. So Dominik hits Rey with the 619. And I had thought Dominik was going to win this thing. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Hits the frog splash. Rey kicks out. Dominik exposes the turnbuckle. But then the referee puts it back together. Meanwhile, he grabs a chain behind the referee's back. But Bad Bunny leaves the announce table to pull the chain away from Dominik. Again, bro, there was so much overbooking to this. But I loved it. This is how you do it right. This is how you overbook a soap opera story. This is how you do it. Rey at 619, hits a splash, gets the win. I was very surprised that this happened. And the Mysterio family went into the ring and celebrated. This was a great moment for their family with them all being involved. And it's exactly what it should have been, I think. But at the same time, I was wondering if they were going to have Dom win because he is the young guy. But the feud is not over, so I'm sure Dom will get his rematch at some point. This is not over. So they showed George Kittle at ringside, and that was a teaser for something coming up later in the show. Next match was the first time in WrestleMania history that you had the ring announcer, the referee, and two women in a match, which was kind of a cool stat, but it did feel like pandering. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. 24-minute match for the Smackdown Women's Championship. I don't know where to start here, y'all. This match, bro, this was the match of the night. This match, if this match does not get at least 6 stars from the Observer, then the bias is there. These women killed it. I mean, I've already got people texting me telling me they thought it was the greatest women's match in WWE history. There's been a lot of great ones. Sasha and Bayley, for one. That's one great one. Charlotte and Asuka, they had a tremendous series. Asuka and Ripley, I think 2 years ago, was underrated. Just so many, right? this one may have been the best one. There were just crazy, crazy spots here. Crazy freaking DDTs. What happened, I mean, the story of the match was that Charlotte was working over the legs of Rhea Ripley, and Ripley was working over Charlotte's back. So they kept going back and forth, and at one point, it looks like, and they're hitting some nasty moves, bro, like really thick German suplexes. So at one point, including one from the top rope, at one point, Rhea hit the German suplex on Charlotte, and she broke her nose. And I could tell she broke her nose. We were all watching it. Her nose was twisted to the right, dude, and then her eyes got watery. That's a broken nose, yo. And, of course, Charlotte being a professional, she finished the match. She finished the match and kept going for a few more minutes. I mean, dude, she broke her nose. And if you've never had your nose broken, your eyes get watery. It's hard to see. Your whole face hurts. She was bleeding a little bit. Like, this was crazy. So Ripley put her in the prism trap, which is like the standing inverted cloverleaf, that move. Charlotte gets out and drives her into the turnbuckle by flipping the momentum over. And the referee almost got hit here. Spear, not a very good spear. Almost got the 3 count. Then what happens is she tries to go for the figure 8, but Ripley grabs the ropes. Then Ripley blocks Charlotte and throws her into the post, which was nasty. Because remember, she had the broken nose. So then a riptide from the, what happens, they brawl to the top rope. She hits the riptide from the top rope. There was actually a really nasty spot earlier in the match where she goes for the riptide and Charlotte reverses it into a DDT. And it was freaking beautiful. Beautiful and nasty, dude. So they did the super riptide. Ripley wins the Smackdown Women's title like we all knew she would. Is finally at the top of her game. They showed an angle where Charlotte was looking at the replay, almost like laughing, like hysterically laughing and nodding her head. I'm not sure what that's going to go to later on. I don't know if it's going to lead to a heel turn or some kind of revelation. I don't know. But the crowd went absolutely nuts for Rhea Ripley. And the pop she got when she won was great. This match could have closed the show. And at one point, I thought it was going to close the show. It didn't close the show, though, because they wanted to end the show with a happy ending. This was a happy ending to the crowd, but you want to end it with the baby faces, going over. So then we get to this unusual intermission, I guess. So Miz and Snoop Dogg are in the ring, and Miz announces the attendance at 80,497. Again, that couldn't be a fake number. WWE likes to do that, but the building was definitely full. And then what happens is Snoop said that the numbers would be better if Miz had a match. So then we have the big return of Pat McAfee. And that was freaking awesome. I miss Pat McAfee. So McAfee comes out and he's like, I didn't know that you issued an open challenge. I'll wrestle you. So they had an impromptu 4-minute match where it was Pat McAfee against The Miz. Snoop made the match official because I guess he has power for some reason. And then we have the match. So this is pretty much what it was, dude. Pat McAfee squashed The Miz. I mean, he squashed him. Spine buster, perfectly executed one. Punches. George Kittle came out there. Freaking, he was involved. McAfee did a dive from the top. It looked like he hit his back on the floor. Then he hit him with a big punt in the ring, got the 1-2-3. This was, Miz has been, I don't know how I feel about Miz losing to a part-timer like this who's not really a wrestler. Maybe it'll lead to a feud or whatever down the road, but geez, dude, I wasn't expecting this, but at least they kept it short. So then we have our main event. They brought out some, and by the way, Sami Zayn got a huge pop. But before I get to that, they brought out this rapper I've never heard of before, some mumble rapper. And thank God he was out there for like a minute because I was like, okay, I thought it was going to be a concert. Like a WrestleMania concert, but that's not what it was. He was just out there for a second before the Usos came out. And I was already groaning because oh my God, those concerts at WrestleMania are just a complete mess. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. 25-minute main event for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. Great story here. Lots of storytelling. Lots of stuff with Jay and Sami. Lots of talking in the ring. Lots of Sami and Kevin Owens working together. Lots of, you know, tributes. There were so many little tributes here to previous matches, like stuff with the Bloodline, stuff with Kevin Steen and El Generico. In fact, Kevin Owens, when the crowd chanted Ole, I'm sorry, Michael Cole. There was a point in the match when the crowd chanted Ole where he actually mentioned El Generico. I could not believe it. He said El Generico would be proud. That is the first time that Sami Zayn's original gimmick of El Generico was said on WWE television. First time ever. I still can't believe it. That was a highlight for me. That was a highlight for me. There was a lot of story here. At one point, they got the heat on Sami. Sami made the hot tag, but that wasn't like the finishing hot tag. We saw them do everything. Now, as the match was going on, though, me being somebody who has followed their careers since the Ring of Honor PWG days in the mid-2000s, you know, I was thinking tonight would be the night when Kevin Owens would finally bust out the package pile driver and Sami Zayn would finally bust out the brain buster. But that did not happen. That did not happen, unfortunately. But I'm okay with the match still. It's just that tonight would have been the night to do it. So at one point, right, let me see if I can remember. So at one point, they were trying to take out Kevin Owens on the announce table, right? Then Jimmy and Jay did a double release rock bottom or choke slam and put him through the English announce table. And then they got Sami Zayn in the ring. And what happened was they did the flying moves or whatever, the 1D, right? That's what they did first. I'm sorry. And Zayn kicked out. And then nobody's kicked out of the 1D yet. Not during this run of the Usos. So then they're fighting each other, blah, 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 whatever. Jay hits the haluva kick on Sami Zayn. And then yells at him, man, this is my family. All that awesome stuff. Then Zayn did the exploder in the corner on the second rope. Nasty. Then Kevin Owens works his way back up to the apron. Hot tag here. Couple of pop-up power bombs. Zayn hit Jimmy with the haluva kick, and then Owens gave Jay a stunner. At this point, I'm thinking it's over, but no, it is not over yet. They start brawling. First, they get on their feet. Then they start clubbering, right? Clubbering back and forth. Super kick party, right? The Usos did the Samoan double splash, their original finisher, on Owens. Owens still kicked out. Then Owens got super kicked again. They set up this big spot, right? But then Sami, they were going to do a spot, but Sami pulls, Jimmy, it was one of the two, underneath, and threw him over the announce table, right? And then Kevin Owens hit the Avalanche Fisherman's Buster from the top. It was like a twisting suplex, right? And again, that's not the finish because Owens tagged in Zayn. And Zayn hit the haluva kick. And then Owens hit Jimmy with the stunner. So they're doing it again. And then Zayn hit two more haluva kicks. And that was the victory. They are now, for the first time, WWE Tag Team Champions. These guys have won tag titles in Ring of Honor and other companies, but now together they have won the WWE Tag Team title. The crowd went nuts. Amazing pop. Insane fireworks. The firework display was so over the top, folks. And the crowd sang along with Sami Zayn. When they got the pinfall, they were both in tears. Both of them were in tears. This was emotional. This was the payoff to 9 months of storytelling and the first half of the payoff to the Bloodline angle. This WrestleMania is so far looking to be one of the best ever, and probably, if everything goes right tomorrow, probably the best two-night WrestleMania we've seen so far. Comparing 36, 37, 38, which I had fun with 37 and 38. But this show, think about it. Sami Zayn a year ago was losing to Johnny Knoxville. Kevin Owens headlined Saturday a year ago, losing to Steve Austin, who was retired. Now they come back a year later in the hottest angle they've done in years, and they win the WWE unified, undisputed tag team titles. And they were crying. There were tears, real tears. In the post-show scrum, they talked about Jay Briscoe and PWG and put over their past. And they said they hoped they made Jay Briscoe proud. Just the I don't know what to tell you, man. The drama, they took their time with the 3 haluva kicks. This was masterful storytelling. This is the business done right. This is pro wrestling done right. We are so lucky. We are eating so good right now. We are eating so good right now. Because Revolution was good. AEW. Supercard of Honor was good. WrestleMania Night 1 is good. And Night 2 should also be good. Wow. Amazing crowd. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what happens. Anyways, amazing show. That's all I have to say. See y'all tomorrow for Night 2, WrestleMania Sunday.